Throughout your college careers, you have used information from the media to help complete your assignments. By media, I mean traditional newspapers and magazines, as well as online platforms that disseminate information to people. I imagine you have used information from the media to complete assignments in this class as well. In my experience, the quality of the results from online searches or from the questions one asks in a chatbot are contingent upon the types of keywords used or questions asked. Better inputs produce better outputs. The more knowledgeable a person is, the better able that person is at producing those quality inputs. Also, in my experience, having a strong foundational knowledge will give you more tools to frame your issues. The more elements of a phenomena you are aware of, and the more you are aware of how things are linked together, the more ways you can talk about it, and the wider array of media stories you can tap into. The purpose of this video is to explain some important terms and concepts in criminal justice and link them to cybercrime in the media. Let's get started.
From the poorest communities to the richest communities, it affects everybody.
Human sex trafficking isn't something that just happens in faraway places.
There was an online sex trafficking ring that broke up in my district.
Sex trafficking moved from the streets to the internet.
Backpage.com and similar websites were making revenues in the tens of millions of dollars by acting as an online brothel.
There are hundreds and hundreds of websites that have been selling our women and children with impunity.
When you have a storefront for slavery and prostitution that now in the modern age is located on the web, that's the problem.
FOSTA closes the loopholes that previously made it difficult for prosecutors to bring to justice websites that facilitate human trafficking.
It made it to the president's desk and was signed into law on April 11th, 2018.
Backpage.com and other companies like this must be held responsible.
This legislation will now make it illegal to sell people online and give those survivors the opportunity to seek justice.
Thank you on behalf of my family as well. My daughter was trafficked at the age of 15.
If it's a crime offline, by golly, it's a crime online.
Websites that knowingly facilitate sex trafficking are no longer immune from legal action.
The provisions in this law are already making the internet safer.
Government crackdown on sex trafficking.
We have made it crystal clear that any website involving selling men, women, and children online will be shut down and prosecuted.
We have shut down nearly 90% of the online sex trafficking business and ads.
We got to end it. We did it. I'm very proud of our work.
We work very hard to combat this atrocious problem. I hope FOSTA is only the beginning of the meaningful changes we are able to make.
What you just saw was an advertisement from 2018 from a group of elected officials promoting new legislation. At the time, the legislation, what we can call a bill, was under discussion in Congress. The bill passed, and it became an act. The act is called the Fight Online Sex Trafficking Act, or FOSTA. Because an act will lead to changes in law and changes in people's lives, the media will cover viewpoints both for and against it. We can say that one way to approach cybercrime in the media is to focus on the conversations surrounding the bill, act, and future consequences of its passing. Another example is the proposed Protecting Kids on Social Media Act. The bill, which mandates age verification for social media platforms, prohibits users under 13 from creating accounts, and requires parental consent from minors, was introduced in April 2023 and is working its way through Congress. If this bill should pass, it would lead to a host of new laws. Laws that are written and enacted by elected officials are called statutes. Once a bill becomes a law, it will lead to one or more new statutes or modifications of old statutes. In the case of FOSTA, modifications were made to the laws regarding online platforms. These platforms used to be exempt from what happens on their websites. But FOSTA changed this rule for prostitution and sex trafficking. In your chapter on cyberviolence, an image similar to this is shown. The Act is clearly working within this model, where actions that aid in the process of trafficking are criminalized. FOSTA is making owners of platforms liable for sex trafficking under the premise that they are contributing to the Sex Trafficking Act by promoting or facilitating the crime. However, some folks are unhappy about it. Here is an excerpt illustrating a common critique.
Craigslist has shuttered its personal section. That's right. Romantic, gone. Casual encounters, gone. Strictly platonic, gone. Welcome back to What's Trending. I'm Martine Bierman. Make sure to subscribe for more social media and trending news stories every day. Craigslist made the move in response to Congress passing the Fight Online Sex Trafficking Act, also known as FOSTA. To understand all of this, we gotta get a little bit into the legal weeds, but stick with me. And don't worry, we're not lawyers either, so I'm gonna try and keep this simple. What FOSTA aims to do is to hold responsible websites that host sex trafficking transactions. And it's in response to a case repeatedly thrown out of court against Backpage.com, which was hosting ads for child sex trafficking victims as well as adult escorts. Why can't they be held responsible, you might be asking? It's because of something that's been around since 1996 called Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. That act says you can't hold a website responsible for something illegal that someone might be doing on the website. So, for example, if someone uploads child pornography to YouTube, that uploader can be arrested and YouTube can take the video down and suspend the channel, but YouTube itself can't be held liable for any wrongdoing. Which makes sense, it's a platform, right? So if somebody chooses to make a profile there and then upload content that's inappropriate or illegal, then the platform shouldn't be held responsible for the content that the person posts. And Section 230 has been a cornerstone of the free and open internet for decades. Free speech advocates still point to it as an essential tool for the modern internet. After all, without Section 230, sites like Reddit, YouTube, Facebook, Yelp could all be besieged by lawsuits every time a corporation thinks one of their users has written something libelous.
Codes are collections of laws organized by titles and sections. Because this is a cybercrime course, most of the statutes we are interested in are in Title 18 of the United States Code. And now we make it to offenses and penalties. Offenses are violations of statutes found in federal or state codes. Most of the documents I use in this course will be either search warrants or sometimes criminal complaints. They are sworn statements by law enforcement requesting some action in response to someone violating one or more statutes. You can see an example here. Recall earlier I said that one way to approach cybercrime in the media is to focus on the conversations surrounding the bill, act, and future consequences of its passing. The media will also use press releases from the FBI and other agencies to inform the public about an arrest and a conviction. In fact, most of the affidavits you will see in this class come from a media story where the author of the story would link to a search warrant, criminal complaint, or indictment. These affidavits are at the end of a process that started with a bill that became an act that then changed one or more statutes, leading to a criminalization of certain behavior, which led to law enforcement reactions including search warrants and arrests.